What's up, Strike a Spark? We're back with another episode. I'm Big Mike, and with me I have...
Rachel.
How you doing, Rachel?
I am tired, as you can tell. How are you doing?
It's about the same. I'm going to be real. All right? And then also we have our lovely guest. I call her Cousin Courtney, but y'all can catch her out in the field as Courtney L battles. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Oh. Built different. I'm going to say it. It's crazy out here.
Come on, wake up.
I can't.
The hustle's real.
Exactly. And I mean, it's going to be that hustle. Yeah, it's going to catch up with you, and it's going to be that hustle that's really gonna test your mettle, as they used to say. But before we get into anything, you know, we normally start off with a mental health check. Let's start off with our lovely guest. How's your mental health checking out?
I'm doing pretty good today. You know, I actually walked outside the house. I got some sun in.
Okay.
You know, came back in, chilled out for a little bit. Trying to do some self-care Sunday, you know.
Okay. I
That's
feel
really
you.
it.
Feeling blessed?
Feeling blessed.
There we go.
Trying to push away the stress, you know.
Okay.
With whatever I can do to keep it away, we're gonna do that.
I feel that. Rachel, how about you?
Surprisingly well. The last two have been on like the verge of a mental breakdown, but this episode I'm actually probably doing the best I've been. My anxiety's been lower. I've been able to be more spontaneous even. Like I went out multiple times this weekend, which is the first time since the pandemic hit. So like it's been good. What about you?
You know what? I gotta keep it real. Every time we do this, I gotta keep it real. Mm-hmm. My anxiety on a whole new level. It's really, it's not dragging me down, but it is starting to feel like overbearing, and it's coming down to like one of those times where like I got work to do, and then I'll pull up like a doc or anything, and I gotta fill it out. Or if I'm writing jokes, I got the page open, got the notes open, and I type T, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm watching a YouTube video. So it's pretty much, I don't know, it's very different. Had a goodish show yesterday. Weird experiences, things that you got to just let roll off of you. But other than that, everything's kind of decent. It's kind of decent.
Yeah, it definitely ebbs and flows though. You go through good waves and bad waves, and you gotta keep rolling.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What's your favorite thing to keep your anxiety down? I'd ask that.
Oh, snap.
What do you do?
The guest asking questions. Okay, look. That's I like that. I like that.
What's your move?
I like that.
I need to put some more in my arsenal.
Ooh, I personally have like comfort shows and movies that are good go-tos when it's like really bad in the moment. But to like keep it down consistently, I'm just very like open with communication of like what's happening on like projects and with friends and stuff, and that's definitely helped. And just I've started scheduling in like times where me and my friends will always meet like weekly to talk and catch up, to like watch a show or something together, and then just like have downtime and having that communication or just the scheduled time where it's like I'm done, there's no work for once, and that's actually been really helping keep my mental health in check and got progressively better to the point where I am this week.
Yeah. Honestly, about the same. Really, it shows. I'm not gonna say isolate myself, because isolating myself really don't work. I'm very social. You know that. The fans know that. Rachel know that. Shoot, Taylor, who's producing this this episode, he knows that too. I like to talk, so I mean, I guess I'll do like a little comedy show in my head. I'll listen to music, watch TV, eat. That's a big one right there. Eat something, which that's dangerous, because next thing you know, everybody becoming Big Mike. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Go outside, get some fresh air, kind of like you did, and work on those. And if they don't start like helping, I'm old fashioned. I'll take a nap.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just go to bed.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could do that. I can't nap. It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's coming down to the point where I can't do that, because then I'll start missing stuff. Um, so that's like last resort. But other than that, I say be open with people. To like find somebody like close enough to you, like a friend, best friend, or somebody, and shoot the breeze.
That's good stuff. Good tip.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. How about what do you do? We know you got to add to your arsenal, but what do you do? What is your arsenal?
Oh goodness. Lots of meditation. I try to before I leave the house in the morning give myself like 10 minutes of meditation and 10 minutes at night.
Okay.
That's just to dedicate some time to myself because throughout my day, my time belongs to everyone else around me, especially as a coordinator. So that's it. That's my gift to myself to kind of keep me mentally aligned and balanced.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Well, since we on the topic of stress, right? Let's talk about your stress leading up into your career choice.
Ooh.
All right, let's go into that. So, for people who don't know, your originally hometown is Houston, Texas, and right now, that's where Rachel is right now. Good old time zones. But right now, you're on the East Coast in the lovely Big Apple City, right? What was it like making that transition from H-Town to the Big Apple?
Oh, wow. It was a very big transition. I always knew I wanted to live in New York. I always knew that I wanted to work in New York. But I didn't really see it as a possibility in my life. You kind of dream it up. You're like, okay, whatever. When I left teaching and I got into TV in Houston, first thing I did was come to visit New York, and I fell in love with it. I was like, okay, this is it. I'm moving. I'm done. And I had cousins up here, so I moved in with them for a little bit, lived with them for a while, and then I moved into a place with roommates. So the transition wasn't as hard for me as it might be for most people because I did have extended family up here. But of course, moving from driving everywhere to taking a train everywhere to working. As a teacher, you're still working around the clock, but like I was working at least 10 hours. Now I'm working 16 to 18-hour days. It kind of takes it's a transition. It's a big toll on you. But the vibe of the city is just go, go, go. So, you just kind of fall into the pace of it. I fell into the pace of everything.
That makes sense. It really does, because like the changing of your surroundings can make the person and it can break the person. So having that flexibility to kind of like, what is it? Evolve. There it is. With your new surroundings is really good, right?
Especially just a big change like Texas to New York, because the vibes are totally different.
So different. Yeah. Texas is very laid back, and it's more, not so much I'm gonna get there when I get there, but New York is just zoom, zoom, zoom all the time. What's the next thing that we're getting into? What's the next project that you're hopping onto? So it's never ending. They don't stop.
Yeah. Especially, like, there is people in Texas who have that kind of attitude, but, like, overall, the feeling is, like, you have to be lucky to find your people to be at that pace with you if you're, like, not up in New York kind of way.
Yeah. But everyone's very much so on, everyone in Texas kind of, like, has, like, a mono path, in a sense, I feel like. In New York, people just move up and down with the rhythm of the city a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like Austin might be starting to go the way of more like there's multiple things you can be doing. Like it's not just like a one-track path. But like I will say with Texas, like everyone's the same. It's like, especially with Houston, it's like it's rodeo season, it's summer, it's Renfest season. It's very like one flow kind of thing.
Yeah, you already know what's happening.
Oh, yeah. I will say it's been weird with COVID not having that, like, when I came back, but, like, I've been up to New York once or twice, and it definitely was, like, a whole different rhythm. Every day was completely different.
Yeah, city that never sleeps. When the
Yeah.
shutdown occurred and they shut the subways down, everyone was like, "Well,
What now?
so what
Yeah,
now between 2 to 4 a.m.? Like, how do I get home?"
Mhm.
yeah.
So for a city that never sleeps, that's hard.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I remember seeing the all the Instagram videos of like Times Square and everything, and the city just looked dead, and it was like it's like The Walking Dead came to fruition. Like there was nobody out, everything was stopped. You ain't see a taxi in sight. The sky was gray.
Yeah,
It's like
Nothing.
something out of the Marvel movies. Like
it
Yeah,
it
everything always
it
comes down to
was.
New York.
It was legit. Everything, it felt closed. And granted, like the people, you have true New Yorkers who are here, who didn't leave the city, of course. This is their home. They'll tell you in a moment, New York City never shut down. It's just the tourists left. So, but it was a switch in pace for everyone who was here.
okay. That's fair. That's fair. How did it affect you in your career? Because I know you went from teacher to freelance to assistant and what was it? Casting, a casting assistant. And how did that affect you during that period of time? And how's it affecting you now once things are starting to kick back up?
Being an assistant, especially in film, television, Hollywood, is very humbling experience. Um, because you have your career goals, you have you know people that you want to connect with and and have these contacts, but you also have a job to get done. And sometimes it's very by any means necessary, and the hours are very by any means necessary because
Yeah.
people don't the work never stops. And then so as far as going from teaching, the work with teaching does continue, but
Mm.
it's a totally different pace because you're focused on your core group of kids, you're focused on the educational aspects of their life, which is very stressful because kids come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
um, they have different learning abilities and experiences, so you have to cater to those needs. In TV world, I mean, you're still catering to these needs of people, adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
But
personality is even more so than like when you're with kids.
See,
yeah,
I can see it on your face. I'm gonna be the one to say it because she can't say it, but some of these adults gonna be acting like children. So I can see where that
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
yeah, and you just sometimes you want to sometimes you want to say no, and it's just like copy that. You just keep going and do what you got to do to make shit happen in TV because
Mhm.
it can be nonstop.
Okay.
With teaching, you can stop. You can
Yeah.
you can do your lesson plan. You write up whatever kids you need to write up, or you do the detentions, or you do the praise reports, and then you can shut it off and go to happy hour. With TV, happy hour comes around eventually. It's gonna
Yeah.
come around, but we'll see what time we get off our clock today.
Mhm. When production of the whole thing's over, that's when it really comes.
Yeah,
Get that
once
that
wrap
martini
happens.
shot.
Yeah.
Oh
Pray
yeah,
for a
I can feel
martini.
that.
Pray for a martini. Please don't go again.
Do you think though it helped being a little bit experienced with like the whole teaching kind of realm to prep you rather than just diving straight into the industry?
Um, in a sense, with yes and no. I
Mhm.
mean, because you are stepping into a totally different, career path.
Mhm.
I would say personality wise, and you can say, okay, I understand this type of personality, or I understand this type of person because I used to connect with this kind of kid in my
Yeah.
classroom. So I would use that, but also like you said before, these are adults, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
they have their ways, and you can only do so much, especially as an assistant.
Yeah.
You
With
can
the
only
kid,
say so much.
yeah, you can teach a kid, but like an adult who's already locked in, especially in like in a position in like the
Yeah.
media and TV and film.
Yeah, they're not going to change their ways. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but you learn so much from so many people, and you learn why, they do things the way they do things, why they
Their
you know,
motivation.
yeah, with their motivations, their work ethic, the grind that they put forth. So you learn that from each person, and all you can do is take those tidbits and run with it to the next job.
Yeah. See, this right here, this is why I love doing this part of the show, where it's like questions, because questions leads to more questions and more questions, and then we got a conversation going. And now I'm stuck on 2 questions, but I'm gonna go with this one first, because we can always go back to the people that you met and how those connections are helping you now and freelance. But I want to take the time for you to explain how you go from a teacher to a film, TV production assistant to a casting assistant. Just getting in this, that's a whole different lane change right there. It was like, oh, I want to teach the next generation to, nah, I'm making movies.
Well, yeah, because I always wanted to work, I always had an interest in film and television. And it was just, I never felt like it was the right time to pursue it. And with teaching's a lot of work. Teachers don't get paid the money that they are supposed to get paid. Teachers don't get the recognition that they deserve.
That's agreed.
And I can be honest and say that I kind of fell into teaching. And when I saw the work that went into it, the dedication that went into it, especially to these kids, not to say that I wasn't dedicated to it, but I was also like, yeah, this isn't really for me. And I could be honest with myself and say that. So I was able to shift and do something else with my career that I always had an interest in. And that's why I put myself into the program at U of H, and they just kept saying to me, when you become a production assistant. And I met someone in Houston who was a AD. Her name is Leora Moore, and she's like one of the top first ADs in Houston. And Leora was just like, will you come and assist for me? And I was like, heck yeah, I will. And once I got into that, kids don't do this, but I quit film school. And I went to New York. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but
I mean, it's this. All right, this right here is about your path, right? It's your path from lane to lane. So I mean, it worked for you. That doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody.
No, it doesn't. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone. But
it's also.
But it was also my second round in college, because my first round in college, I went and I became an educator, graduated my bachelor's. So I went back, to learn about television, to understand, the people that I needed to talk to. And once I got the basics down, I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna make some moves over here and see what I can do.
Yeah, a door
opportunity
open.
comes, go for it.
Yeah. So hey,
door open.
Get your degree, kids. Don't quit. Get your degree.
Stay in school.
Stay in school. School rules, okay, or school, whatever they say. I know, Dad.
Nah, it's fun. It's literally you saw a door open and you took it, and with the experience that you had before, it's all about figuring out when to hit the gas and when to step on it and go for it. You had an opportunity to do something that you wanted. I mean, not saying that you didn't want to become an educator, but you it's a passion that you have, which is something that like us here, like I got a passion for comedy, and recently I did a comedy show, and while I was there was like 14 other comedians. So I'm sitting there and I'm talking, and they're all like, how many times are you doing shows a week? I'm like, maybe 2 shows a month. That's not enough. Here you go, right here. there's this guy, and this guy. They own 3 comedy lounges, and they do shows every Wednesday, right? And in Orlando, I'm in Orlando. They got a whole website devoted to comedians and open mics. You can be on a stage every night if you want to. That's an opportunity right there that I'm going to take. Just like your friend, you said first AD back in Houston. It's like, hey, I need an assistant. Screw college, I'm dipping. Like you best believe if I go out there and like Kevin Hart is at one of these comedy shows and he's like, yo, Mike, you got a good flow. Let me mentor you for a summer. I'm saying deuces to my college for a summer. I don't care. Because this is an opportunity.
Yeah,
it's an opportunity.
The pause of education. No, but especially with the entertainment industry, if you get an opportunity, you gotta like just take it and like run with it until you can't anymore.
Yeah, so that was my first opportunity, was in Houston, and then I worked on a few commercials for her throughout the summertime. My cousin, they kept saying to me, when you move to New York, I was like, I don't have a job to move to New York. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't just come up there and just pick it.
Why does that sound familiar?
who just moving around and kicking it?
I don't know. You've told me a couple of times. Oh, just come to New York for a summer. I was like,
oh yeah, come on.
Exactly.
When you taking to New York? Come on. I say that to everybody. Come on. But one of the commercials I was assisting on, there was a AD on there, another AD, and he was from New York, and his name was, I think it was Yuri. I think it was Yuri, but he goes, there's this site, that kids use in New York, or assistants use in New York, called Local Zero Hero. He said you should log on there. They post jobs all the time. So I get on there, and they're looking for like a paperwork assistant on some movie, and I'm just like, oh, I'll apply. I've never done paperwork for a movie, but fuck it, whatever. And they call me, and I was still in Houston, and they were like, yeah, so we start shooting next week. Are you available? And I'm like, yeah, I'm available. So I pack all my stuff into 2 suitcases, and I got my ass on a plane, and I worked on a movie for 4 weeks in upstate New York. And then I came back to the city in Brooklyn, and from there, I just started going from TV show to TV show, working as an assistant before I got into being a casting assistant.
See, and all that wouldn't have happened if you would have just been like, Miss AD lady friend, I gotta grade these assignments, so I can't come back to Houston, or I can't come and shoot a commercial with you. You gotta take those doors while they're open.
Yeah, you have to take the risk, because if you don't, then you'll miss out on opportunities. And I mean, if you fall on your ass, you fall on your ass. You'll pick back up. And what did Aaliyah say? Try again. First you don't succeed. Try. Is that y'all's generation? That's after y'all's generation.
Oh no, we know that. No, we had a whole discussion about we know that one. No, we had a whole discussion actually about a few episodes back with Anthony Smith, and it was just all about like failure. It's like the only time you're gonna fail is if you don't learn anything from the experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely just like, if something doesn't work, it's gonna not probably work for a reason, but it's like, if you learn, don't repeat it again, don't make the same mistakes, but like the next opportunity will come and you'll be ready for it. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I'm so glad that I asked that question, because it transitions pretty darn well into the next one. How does the connections that you make with people help you further along your career right now, both as a casting assistant and freelance?
Oh goodness, it's very, very important not to burn bridges, because you never know when you might need to walk across that one again to get into a new position.
That right there's a quote.
Those people are there. Everyone. I haven't met, and and this might be naive of me, but I haven't met anyone who's trying to sabotage me. Everyone I've run into is there to help me level up and be the best, whether it's coordinating, associate producing, casting, assisting. They're there to help me continue to reach those goals, to continue to be on the next gig. And they're always reaching out to me, which I find a great blessing because they keep me employed. But also just the years of experience that these people have, and the oodles of wisdom that they give you every time that you're sitting next to them through a 16 to 18 hour day. You know, all you can do is all it is a school, is a learning experience. It's school hand, firsthand. So I appreciate all the connections that I make. I try to keep in contact with everyone there, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or just going to go have a drink with these people every once in a while. Even a drink after a job is just a really good way to connect with these people and see who they are as people, as individuals outside of the industry.
Yeah.
Give a shit about them a little bit. So you have to, what we do is very stressful. It's very demanding. A lot of people do have families that they don't get to spend as much time with. And at the end of the day, like I said, when you're spending 16 hours with people, you are their family in a sense.
Yeah.
So building those connections, building that rapport is extremely important.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because, right, a lot of people around our age, I'm going to say our age, like, as in anyone who's just now entering Greenfoot, Rookie of the Year, whatever you want to call it, coming into the entertainment industry, Rachel.
What? Greenfoot? I've never heard that.
Alright, so in comedy, right, if you're a new comedian and you do open mics and you're just doing open mics and you're doing open mics every now and then and you walk into a room, you can tell that you're green.
Yeah.
So it's like,
okay.
yeah. So I'm just throwing like terms.
Never heard of that. So confused.
It's the same in TV though. Like you know when someone's green, like like they have the term like a green PA, like a green production assistant, as someone who's never worked on a film set before. Mm-hmm. But we've all been green,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just pray that
connections.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
exactly.
It's all about like bringing up the people you know, and like that. No one I think truly ever is. I haven't met anyone who's like truly malicious, like in the movies where it's like, I'm never gonna let you see another day in the industry. Like there is people like that who exist, as we all clearly have seen on the news. But majority of people are just like, I want to do my best to make it in this field, so why would I like hurt someone else's chances for it when all of us could like level up together, kind of thing. So
yeah, it's really the people who like made it, who are kind of like, I don't want to pass me because I'm at this level. But then again, there's a lot of people who also made it who are like, look, eventually you're going to have to reach this level because if not, the industry's going to die.
I'm stuck here forever.
Yeah,
you're stuck here forever and the industry's going to die off. Yeah. So that's the thing. But no, going back to it, is like people who are green, they have this concept, right, of networking. But they don't understand that it's more than just every now and then hit somebody up, give them information, they'll give you information. That it actually has to be a connection there. And that connection is where you'll really get like job opportunities and information. And that's something that's I call it a hidden art. It's a hidden art form because like I do this all the time and I do apologize, but this is like really the only thing that I know about, which is comedy. So when you're coming in for like a new show or an open mic or you're running a set and there's multiple comedians there, we all sit in the same area and we shoot the breeze. We go back and forth. We make a 5-minute friendship, really. You go there and you sit down and you have a good time, and it's through that like 5-minute talks before you go out there and embarrass yourself to be like, that's a cool dude, I'm gonna hook him up with more shows because I kind of want to see where it goes. You know, because it's different styles of doing things. So that's That's fair. I like that. It's a big point that I feel like needs to be brought up more.
Because especially with like women in the industry, it's like a lot of the time there's two stereotypes. It's like, I'm the only woman who's successful in the room, so I'm going to keep it that way. But then it's really just about like uplifting each other because there's not enough women in the room, kind of thing as well. And
there's
so it's just,
not enough women in the room.
It's so much hard. I find like it's so much harder too, especially when you come in and you've got all these big ideas, and then it's just like immediately shot down because that's not the way we do things. But it's really that's not the way that they do things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times it is like male executives you're trying to like get on board ideas and concepts and stuff, and it's like it is like a different way of thinking sometimes.
Yeah, I've been in rooms where there's a lot of women in the room, but not everyone connects well.
Mm-hmm.
So those have been really tough situations because it's just like I was hoping that this would, pan out better than expected, especially with other women of color.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had situations where, they're the production's fully women and we do thrive and we are able to, get the job done. And hey, I'm sorry, I'm watching someone's cat and he's scratching things. Like you have to
That's
stop
fair.
it for a moment. Behavior correction for a moment. Sorry. But you also end up in situations where you work with women who are phenomenal and they want to teach you and they want to continue to push you forward because they've been in situations where they've been the only woman in the room and they know how stressful it is, especially in our industry. That's very male dominated, male driven. I've been in as a casting assistant. I could say that some of the executive meetings that I've sat in, I was, one of the few women in the room and the only woman of color there. Only woman of color. So when you go back to networking, it's really important to build those connections with those people so that we could have more people who look like us in the room. We could have more women in the room. Because we need more ideas that aren't all white male dominated. Excuse me, but those are
that's completely what the industry is, though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are just now starting to click on like making like the room as diverse as the world actually is, and it's like that shouldn't have been something that took this long to figure out. Because I know definitely like I did music first for university actually, and that was just eye-opening seeing how many like female engineers there was. It was just like practically non-existent. And so it was like in my classes even like the amount of girls would drop every month, and it was just crazy to be like fighting so hard for something even though it was like this shouldn't be as complicated as it is. And then I've kind of made the shift. I'm doing like graphic design now, but I'm trying to do some TV kind of stuff as well, and like that is definitely just crazy to see the true numbers of things. And it's just like just to get like the kind of equality in the room, even in a sense, is just like an uphill battle from the start, and then you add in all your own personal challenges with your own projects, and it's like yikes. But you keep fighting it. Honestly, I think it adds drive, and I think that's why so many of the women who do make it bring people up with them, because they're just like, I don't want you to go through what I went through.
Open the door so that everyone else can not so much walk through it, but have an easier path.
They can find the key.
Yeah, they can find the key. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even gonna try to touch bases on that. I'm going because I don't know about that struggle. I don't know about it. So, I mean, I ain't got no right to try to step in there. But I can definitely listen, especially to both of you, since I know both of you are doing stuff right now in the that area of film.
The TV realm.
Yeah, the recording stuff, even though we're recording this right now. The recording stuff. I'm more live. But other than that, how do you balance like your day-to-day projects? Because I know I've heard you say a couple of times now you go from project to project, and how do you balance that? Because it can get overbearing. Like I'm over here like
balance.
Yeah, I'm over here in college.
I think you can be in a creative industry and have balance also in your vocabulary for a while.
That's okay. True.
balance
But
is, I think balance is a very, very, balance is an illusion.
It's a tightrope, and then it's finding where that is.
Yeah. So when you have to learn how to, in order to have balance, and do you mean like life balance or just balancing going
uh,
from project to project?
let's do work balance, because it would be like, say you got a project that's going to overlap with another project, because there are cases of people, overbooking themselves, and that's
We call it double dipping.
double dipping. I might have to use that one. I kind of like that, double dipping.
That's what we call it in where I'm in one commercial world where I do a lot of work now. They call it double dipping, and that's because instead of like focusing on one thing, you're focusing on another thing. And you know that this project is like 18 hours worth of your focus, but you're trying to squeeze in the other one as well. Double dipping. Yeah.
Okay. Then let's look at the let's look at the double dipping side of things, where it's how do you balance? Okay, I can only use the word balance because that's what I know.
Yeah.
But
Balance,
juggle. There we go.
Juggle.
Synonym.
Okay. So I'll be honest. I rarely double dip.
Okay.
I don't like for my projects to overlap because I want to be focused on what I'm working on at that moment. As far as balance with what I want to do personally in my personal projects, and meeting with um, other creators who I work with to focus on those things. It's more of aligning the schedules on the weekends.
Okay.
So whatever little time we do have, whether it's a Zoom, we can do a Zoom meeting, or we might go and try to grab a coffee, and that's how we're able to catch up and focus on what we call our personal projects. Because they aren't my personal projects aren't my bread and butter right now.
Okay.
Prayerfully, one day they will be, but at the end of the day, my 9 to 5, quote unquote, is what I put forth and what I focus all my energy into.
Okay. That's fair. And that's good. So there goes that juggling of events right there, because I
but
like
some
to
people
use.
can hustle. Some people can hustle. Some people
True.
do juggle. I watch plenty of people within our industry who do it, and who do it seamlessly, where
Yeah.
they're on one project to the next, or focusing on 3 projects at a time. And
Whew. Oh man.
It's
Yeah.
crazy to think about. Like, I remember I saw a TED talk that Shonda Rhimes did about how she was doing show running like 3 shows at
3
once, and also
shows,
trying to raise
yeah.
a family. And she was
Yeah.
just like, I lost my spark. Like, it was gone for a minute. I had no desire to do any of it. And then how, like, having fun with her kids again really relit that spark to actually go and do what she loved. And it's
Yeah.
just, it's definitely like a balancing act, but also it's just like, it may be something you can do for a while, but just not always.
No,
So I would
it's
definitely
not.
tell people to go check that out, because that was just amazing. Like, conversation about how she pulls all that off, because the amount of television she produces in a year.
That is the biggest reason why I use the word balance, because even though if it's like not like, oh, work and play, it could just be work and work, but it's like this amount of work is insane, but this amount of work is a little bit less, so I'm not as stressed, so I still have that like fire going. But that's just me. I'm who I am, because
I mean, so I'll say when I'm coordinating is more stress for me than associate producing. So, and that's because with coordinating, I'm getting vendors, and I'm making sure that everyone has exactly what they need, whenever they need it, however they need it, just so that we could get the job done. And that's hard to answer to everyone's needs on set, but you have to, because we got to get the job done. As far as associate producing, I'm only focusing on what my editors need, what my producing team needs, and I don't have to worry so much about the production side of things because there's a coordinator there to handle that.
Okay.
So I don't I can focus more on like what's happening within the creative realm. And I don't, I can get off at 5 and go have a drink, and not have to be tied to the computer all day long. If I have to pick up a phone call, I can pick up a phone call, talk about what I need to talk about, and go on about, the rest of my evening. But with coordinating, I feel like I'm stuck in front of the computer trying to take care of everyone's business that they need done.
Yeah.
And how was it being like on the casting assistant side of things? Because that was like a little bit more pre-production kind of thing.
Oh gosh, yeah. So casting, so being a casting assistant, and there's oh god goodness. So I was I started off as an extras casting assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. You ever had to look at 600 clowns at one time? Very scary.
Oh goodness, that would not be fun.
What
was that for?
I want that on a T-shirt. Have you ever had to look at 600 clowns before?
So if you remember, I don't know if you guys saw Joker, but there's the mob, and the recent one. There's a mob scene where people are protesting, and they're all dressed like in clown gear, like on the trains, and they're walking up to like the Gotham City Hall. So me and another casting assistant, we were in charge of getting all of those people to set, to booking them, making sure that, hair, makeup, wardrobe. Well, that goes more into the set side of things, but just being around people dressed as clowns, 600 of them, and making sure they show up at work is a pretty daunting task. But I've worked on projects also where on the casting side where we have 1,000, 2,000 people that are going to show up to set the next day. So casting has its stresses within itself, and then you go into the principal casting, and I've worked with principal actors more on the on-set side as an assistant for them, and that's just making sure that they have everything within their personal deal memos that they're supposed to have, whether it's a specific water or their specific meals, making sure that they go through their hair, makeup, wardrobe process, and getting the set on time. So it can be, casting's a very demanding job. A lot of people to answer to. There's a lot of stereotyping that can go into casting that you have to be careful about. Because you look at a people, because casting is more, especially with background casting, it's more about a look that someone can portray for this scene.
Okay.
And just because someone can portray a look for a scene doesn't mean that's who they are. But then again, that's acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not every project you can be like as cool as like, okay, just whoever can match the vibe of the character gets the role. It's like, that's something that I wish was more common. Like, I'm trying to do it with the show I'm making, but like, realistically, it's just like, there's normally a mold that's been made for a person to fill. And it's like, it's nothing against the person who's auditioning, it's just like, do they fit what's the vision? Kind of that pre-exists. And a lot of people don't understand that, and I think that's why the actors take it so personally when an audition goes south, because it's like, I heard someone say this, I don't remember who, and they were like, the casting person's not there to like kill your dreams. They want you to come in and get the role so they can
yeah, because if you're not fit for the role, that's more people they have to look into. So it just keeps
like
going.
They're rooting for you too. Like, it's not just like you trying. It's like,
That's so fair. It's it seems like really like a real balance. Why do I keep saying balance? I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. All right, no.
You want to balance TV so bad.
Look,
you want like you need a
You want
thesaurus.
to balance
Like go
it.
look up what.
I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender too much as a child. I'm sorry. The power of balance is within me. So
Okay.
it's more of it's okay. Let me reword it. Let me run it back. It seems more of a task on task and like event by event type of thing, especially when it comes down to assisting, and then it could go from post, pre, and all of that. So the question is, which one do you prefer, or is it just the whole creative aspect of it all that like keeps you going in film and TV right now?
I love it all. It can be a love-hate relationship, especially when you get to the hard parts of any project, because there are going to be hard days. But I enjoy working in TV production in general. Now I'll surprise this one. Well, this is a surprise for me to say out loud anyways, but I originally wanted to be an actress, and that's how I got into production, because I was just like, well, I want to see what production's all about. And then I wanted to act.
That's so true.
I was the same. I like the whole child actress thing, and then I was just like, actually, production sounds cooler.
Yeah, production.
Oh my god.
Much cooler on some levels, and it's way more consistent. I feel like for me.
I feel called out right now. That's why I got
it. Don't feel called out.
I mean, but like you said. Everybody wanted to be the Disney kids. Let's be. I wanted to be Kyle Massey. I'm gonna be honest.
Hey, I walked up, spoke to a manager, said goodbye to my friends. The person who stole the audition spot for that manager, Bella Thorne. So like, you never know. But it's just chaos. Like everyone just kind of goes in the same way. It's just who's willing to actually take the most rejection is who makes it as an actor. I feel like. Yeah. But like I say that as I'm like to my friends, oh yeah, if we sell our show, I'll act in it too. It's like no, calm down, production. Focus on the production of it.
See, I had to learn. I have a fear of rejection, so acting is not for me.
I feel like the industry though, even behind the scenes, there's still a lot of rejection unless you find your people quickly.
Yeah, there's most definitely rejection behind the scenes. There's a lot of, not getting callbacks, for jobs, that you might be holding for, or someone might pass your name along for, because it's like we go back to talking about those connections and networking. It's very much so a who you know kind of business, especially when it comes to picking up work and behind the scenes. You have to be able to forge those connections yourself. So people think that, well, I'll go back and say you have union work and then you have non-union work, and a lot of the union work you have to and I'm not a union member as of now, prayerfully soon, but but even with the union work, people think that, oh, I'm in the union, I can pick up a job wherever and everyone's gonna hire me. That's not necessarily true. You still have to know someone within the industry to get on that union TV show, to work that union job. So it's not a walk in the park, because these union guys, their great granddaddies were doing this. And you think I'm playing? I'm serious.
Oh, I don't. I know for a fact. I mean, I know we try to keep our school out of this podcast as much.
We fail so miserably, though.
We do. But everything you say right there, I was in the film program instantly. Oh my gosh. What is it? The Film Society of America or something. One of the instructors is a member of that. And when I say, like, if your goal is to become a part of them, he'll lay into you all day long. Like, on the things that you need to be doing, what you should be doing. If you're not on this side or this stride to make it into whatever it is. I probably said the association wrong, but I'm a comedian. I don't care about film. But if you're not on this certain stride or this certain path, he's going to let you know instantly, because that's just the way it is. The people who are set in their ways, like we said before, they're going to stay set in them ways, because that right there, it's no longer just like an industry.
Yeah.
It's a tradition.
Yeah, I think it literally took a pandemic coming along for some people to realize, oh, there's other ways we can do this well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and that's kind of pathetic, to be honest, that it took a pandemic for people to be like, we can listen to other ideas and everything, but if it's democratizing the landscape and giving some people a chance to finally break in after, like, the struggle, because, like, even to, like, get it on the ground is hard now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you gotta fight just to get a PA gig.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
just...
you do. Mm-hmm. So, but but it's worth the fight, you know, especially if you know, like, what your goals are, and you keep that in the forefront of everything else that's going on. It's worth the fight. It can be very beneficial.
Yeah.
So don't quit.
That race to the starting line.
I heard someone say, as long as, like, when you realize, like, I'm gonna go into this industry, this is what I want to do, kind of like build that moral compass for yourself of, like, these are the things I will not budge on, this is what I believe, this is what I want to do, and kind of always let that guide you, and don't, like, let anything like some certain opportunities might try and lead you astray, but really evaluate, is this why I'm here? Is this gonna help me get to where I want to go, or is this just something that's gonna, like, could ruin everything or throw me off my path? And so it's just really kind of creating that moral compass for yourself of, like, the goal, just so the journey can be actually enjoyable too, so it's not just like you worked and slaved away for X amount of years to get to a place that you're not even happy in.
Yeah, but also don't be a slave to the industry either.
Yeah.
One thing that one of my production managers always says to me is, these jobs are always going to be here. People are always going to make TV, always. And not to say that taking a break might not, you know, I don't, for me, every time I take a break, I'm able to hop back into it. And meet someone who needs someone available to come in for work. They always say those jobs are going to be there. And that's a fact, because TV will always be created. There's always going to be someone with an idea. There'll always be a camera guy. TV's never going to shut off. So make sure you take a break. Once you get yourself in the door, once you start getting established, you move up your ranks a little bit, take some time off and take care of yourself. And then once you get ready to get back in the game, then, you know, reach out to your connections and get back in the game. Because it's really important to, you know, rejuvenate, balance. I could say for myself, I worked all of June. I associate produced the project in June. I just finished up coordinating a commercial for July. I might possibly pick up one more commercial to coordinate, and then in August I'm taking a break, because that's what I've learned is the most beneficial for my life, to keep going in this industry, because if I don't, then I'm going to burn out. You know, you have some TV shows that shoot for 10 months, and these crew members, they work, you know, 16 hours a day. They go into what's called a Fraturday sometimes. Ooh. And a Fraturday, yeah.
I've heard about those.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, a Saturday is when your Friday turns into Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And you know, you get off of work at like 4 a.m. Saturday morning, and you got to be back at work 10 a.m. on Monday. So it's just like your, you know, most of your weekend is just kind of shot in a sense. You know, because these people who work on these TV shows, they're phenomenal. They're so dedicated to the content that's being created. and they don't get the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah.
Because you see the actors, or you'll see the producers' names, but I mean there's over 100 other crew members there who help with the day-to-day operations that nobody talks about.
Yeah, the assistants are the foundation of the whole industry.
They are the foundation, because I mean you can have a script, you can have a director, but if you don't have a camera team, if you don't have a grip and an electric team, then you still have nothing. If you don't have an art team or production designer to build the stages, or if you don't have, or the carpenters, or the assistants to make sure that everything else gets done, then you don't have a production.
Yeah, it goes back to who was it? I think it was Anthony's episode where we were talking about how everybody's key role put together a show, especially with his auditions, and I'm probably remember this way wrong, by the way, but basically how everything comes together. And I said something along the lines of even the water boy gets a ring. So in football, there's a saying that everybody gets a ring when the team wins, because it's a team effort, you know. So it's nice to see that transitions over to the industry. That's very great. Really, I had one more question for you, and that was how do you handle rejection? I mean, we kind of touched on that, which is got to balance on that. So. Yeah, I mean, okay, no one likes rejection. I don't like rejection. I get rejected a lot, okay? But, it's something that you're going to have to deal with, because there's no such thing as a surefire gig.
No, it's not. And I deal with that on a regular, because people will put me on hold. They'll ask me if I'm available, and then they'll tell me to hold specific dates. But just because I'm holding for a job doesn't mean that I'm booked for the job.
Yeah.
And that's one of those, don't count your chickens until they hatch.
Yeah.
And then also it's the whole thing about just rejection. I mean, Danny DeVito, he's one of the iconic ones. It's 120 rejections before he books it. And then there's people who, how many actors have you heard being yeah, I was going to quit the industry, but I went on one more audition, and that's my breakout role. It's just so common. It's really just, what's your breaking point, and do you have what it takes to actually go for it? And it's sometimes it's taking the break is what allows you to be able to handle more rejection, but also it's you're not going to be rejected forever necessarily. Some people will, but majority of people don't.
People will.
and you go back to you can't take the rejection personal, because I wouldn't say you can't take it personal, because sometimes it may be a personal reason in which you were rejected. But you might not just be a good fit for the role. You might not be as experienced as the production needs, depending on the demands of that production. I wouldn't want to walk in to somewhere green and not have, a producer or an assistant director or a production manager or a casting director there who didn't have the capacity to teach me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something I was very grateful for as a casting assistant, because my casting director, Sable, she was extremely, what's the word? Just experienced and beneficial into what I learned and the processes of booking talent.
Oh yeah.
Because she had been doing it for years, and she worked with plenty of green people, so she knew where to start.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, this is what we do, and this is what we don't do, and she had her foundations on that.
There goes that callback to teaching right there.
Yeah, because everything's an educational experience.
Oh yeah.
And everyone is a teacher in their own sense.
Yeah.
So making those connections with people who are willing to teach you what you want to learn in this industry is extremely important.
Yeah. So I feel like if you stop learning, you stop living.
Oh,
That's a fact.
That's like a quote. That's
for sure. That put that on a t-shirt. Or put that on a button. But yeah,
but for
also,
real, it's like if you don't learn more, it's like you're just gonna stay in the same place forever, and that's
Oh yeah, and then if you're in the same place, you're not living. You're alive, but you're not living.
Mm-hmm.
But for sure, I do believe though. I believe in this, right? Take it personally, but don't get offended. Because when you take it personally, right, that's gonna give you that drive to be like, all right, well now I gotta better myself.
Mm-hmm. I think Beyonce was the one who said, like, take 24 hours to sit on it, be sad, you're okay with it, and then it's not gonna affect you because it's like that,
moving,
that Tumblr post, like, if it's not gonna affect me in 5 years, why should I spend more than 5 minutes dwelling on it?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta kind of have that, like, attitude to be able to, like, just, you can be sad for a little bit, you can, like, be upset, be frustrated, but, like, you have to move on to keep growing.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's just out of spite.
And
like,
learn from
you
it.
gotta keep going.
Because the grind never stops. And you got to move on to the next one.
For real.
You got to move
The
on to the
industry
next
keeps
job.
going, with or without you.
100%.
Yep.
All right, well, that right there, that was the conclusion. But just like always, it's that special time. Rachel knows, I knows. Courtney, you don't know. Got him. All right. This right here is the music that describes your life right now. What's a song that describes you right now? Did you forget?
So sometimes we participate, sometimes we don't, and like, so I'm just like, I'm not prepared if we are this week.
Okay.
Put me on blast too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of Ari Lennox.
Mm-hmm.
And she has this song called Apartment.
Apartment.
It's called New Apartment. I've been in my apartment for about almost a year now. But like she's just like she can just do her thing in her apartment and she's just living her best life in her apartment. So my apartment to me is very much so my safe place. It's where I can get away from the industry, where I can have my reading time, where I can have my moments to myself, where I relax, where I do my meditation, where I do all my reading, because I love to read. You know, in lieu of watching TV, that's what I love to do is read. But
break away from the industry fully.
Yeah, break away from the industry for a little bit. Let me tell you, I had one time where I was at home. I was working from home, and I went outside to get away from TV, like to get away from industry, and they were shooting on my street. Like when I say they were shooting on my street, it was a TV show with a major network. I'm not gonna say what it was, but it was a TV show with a major network. And they had these massive, like, Kino lights, and they were, like, shooting up into, like, the window of my apartment. And it was just like...
You know what?
Can't escape.
See, you ain't gonna say what network it is. You ain't gonna say what network it is, but that's not gonna stop me from believing that it was Black Lightning.
It wasn't Black Lightning, but shout out to those people on that show, because I sent one of the assistants over there a very nasty message, and I felt really bad after. I was just like, I can't get away from you guys. It's all good. It's all love. She knew it was all love.
Okay.
But yeah, I knew New Apartment by Ari Lennox, because this is my safe space. This is where I come to relax. This is where, you know, I can just be myself without any outside influences from work. Because you talk about that balance piece again.
Yeah.
You gotta have it. You gotta shut that computer down sometimes.
Yeah, balance is everything. All right, Rachel, what's your song?
I probably the one that's like number one on my Spotify, which I'm partially embarrassed about, but at the same time the message of the song is good, so I'm not caring. It's You Ain't Seen Nothing from High School Musical, the musical, the series.
High School
Me and my
Musical
friends
is
watch
success.
it, and like there was this song a couple episodes ago, and it was like all about like just because you take a break doesn't mean the lights are out on like your dreams and everything, and it's like building monuments for sleep, climb mountains, like going for it, like you
Yeah.
ain't seen nothing yet. The hustle is just behind the scenes, like just wait until you see what happens next, and definitely a good pump up song, and definitely been getting me in the right headspace, and I think that kind of the energy got me like to kind of shift into like I gotta kind of carve my own path, and to do that in the industry sense I need to do that in my personal life, so definitely been a good motivation song when kind of like rebuilding in the personal sense to
Okay.
match my energy for everything else, so even if it's from a Disney Plus show.
Oh, that's fun.
good.
That's real
Hey,
fun.
nah, but it's a catchy song. It gets stuck in your head. So
Yo, them
I'd go
musical
with that
songs
one.
be bangers. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, it's good. It's from Tova Litvin and her husband. They wrote a lot of the big songs from like a lot of the Disney productions, and so gotta give it up to them.
okay.
So, what about you? What's your song for this week?
You know what? See, normally, I be getting upset with y'all because the main host always be cheating because this is coming, and then
I
you
forgot
already
this
have
week.
your. Yeah, you forgot this week, so now you know how it feels for me to just be like, "Oh snap! It's the end of the episode. Now I got to come up with something," and that's the reason that's the reason why mine's be off the wall, and they be off the wall,
Or
and
the
mine is
last.
still off the wall, even though I'm the main host and I knew this was coming. But it's very meaningful. So you were talking about you were a little embarrassed that it was a Disney Plus show. Let me hit you with that Disney Plus musical, which is the song "Is Not Gonna Waste My Shot" from Hamilton.
That's not a
One-
Disney. That's a Broadway. That's
What?
not
It's
Broadway.
okay, but it was featured on Disney Plus,
Alright,
and
I
a
like
lot of
that.
people
I'm
saw it.
I'm not that embarrassed actually.
I
I love
love
the
There you
song.
go.
I like the show.
Yeah, and the biggest reason why is because I was caught up between that and Into the Unknown from Frozen 2.
Ooh, both are solid.
Exactly. And I was caught up on that because, like I said, I did a comedy show yesterday. And I met a lot of people, and I was given a lot of information that could propel me forward into something that I see as a dream and something that I can see is like truly becoming reality. And it's gonna be that message right there that young blood, you're not you're not gonna waste this, especially if I'm gonna give you my Instagram, my contact, and tell you and look you in the eye and be like, I'm gonna see you at the next show and I'm gonna see you on stage. Even if the show is not that good, you're gonna get off stage. I'm gonna poke fun at you because you went up there with some weak jokes, but you're gonna come back and you're gonna do it again, right? Because your career is never over until you quit. Especially in this
That's a
industry.
fact. Yeah,
So-
you have to keep going. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I love that song. I went and saw Hamilton,
Which
and
version,
it was
though?
one of the best. It was one of the best shows I've seen. Like my
Which
top
version,
one
the
in my top
mixtape
5.
or like Broadway?
Oh,
Ooh,
That's
Broadway.
is it Into the Unknown, the pop version or the movie version?
okay. All right. Look.
The challenge.
Okay. Look. Right. For Hamilton, I'm gonna do Broadway because they killed it.
Leslie
100%.
Jr.
Oh yes, 100%. They killed it. And I don't know about you, right? I do streaming. I do comedy. Getting up there on a stage and doing something live is difficult. Yet again, having it be a full-blown musical in a rap style. So you went from actually rapping to now rapping in a conversation to back to rapping. And I was like, I gotta put the skill on that one. The mixtape was fire, but I gotta do the show. Now, Into the Unknown for Frozen.
Idina Menzel or Brendan Urie?
Oh,
That's the
people
question.
gonna hate me on this. But I'm gonna say Brandon Urie.
It's a good cover.
It is a good cover.
I disassociate the artist from their voice.
No, see, but here's the thing, right? The reason why I'm giving it to him is because 100% when he first heard the song and they're like, oh, we're doing a cover for it. They're like, oh, can you really hit this note? And he switched the note around for the long note to be the first Into the Unknown. And it was high enough. And he was like, I can hit it. I could just imagine him in the studio. It was like, I got it. And I'm not even going to try to touch that note because I'm not a singer. I'm a comedian. But that's yeah, pretty much.
You're not doing it.
No, I'm not.
I got
I'm
choir
not
under my belt. I can hit the note. I remember I actually did Let It Go for the longest time. Like, I was at D23 when they first revealed, like, Idina Menzel singing it before the movie was out a few months earlier. And so, like, I knew the song was stuck in my head, so I sang it at the choir winter concert, like, that year, like, fresh off of it, and it got stuck for years. It was like, the Let It Go girl. I was just like, oh, God. But, no, those notes, though. Oof.
I feel like I have to come back around with, like, my Disney favorite now.
We did not plan to choose Disney. Like, that was just a wild card that we both picked like all Disney Plus stuff.
Go for it. What's your Disney favorite?
Mine
What's your
is
Disney current one?
It's from oh shit. What's the movie?
You was confident.
How far I'll go.
Oh, Moana. Yeah.
For Moana. Oh my goodness. How far I go from Moana? I sung that. I want to say it got on Netflix the summer before I left for New York, and I sung that song every day.
Yeah. Plus it was also a good pop cover to it, the Alessia Cara, and over the, and then they had the Alihi Carvalho, a solid one as well. Oh, so. Yeah. I don't know all the versions of the songs. I didn't realize how much I had on my playlist until I'm like, which version?
You got a good playlist.
Hey.
My playlist is all over the place. It goes from like rock to Disney to Broadway to like some French pop and K-pop. It's just it's a mess.
Look, if it's a banger, it's on there.
You're good.
Literally, that's the criteria. If it's a banger or something like super amazing ballad that makes you like question everything, that too.
Oh yeah.
So that's why my picks are very always like the same. It's like very Disney poppy for the podcast, so no one would ever know.
All right, well, that's the show, and once again, thank you, Courtney, for being here. Thank you for like I said at the beginning, before we started. Thank you for saying yes, for coming on this show. Rachel, any last words?
No, thanks for coming. This has been a great episode. It's been a lot of fun to get to see more about your insight into the industry.
Thank you. I just have to say, you guys keep doing what you do. You're doing a really great job. Everybody out there, just keep striving for your dreams. It'll happen. Stay dedicated. The grind is hard, but take a deep breath and keep it pushing, one day at a time.
Yeah, to wrap on a Disney note now, the climb is hard. The climb may be hard, but it's worth the view.
There you go.
Oof, okay. I see Rachel out here stealing my normal quotes that I be dropping off at the... I see you. I got you. But I got one too.
Switching it up on you tonight.
I got one too. But once again, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Taylor, for producing. Also a host. Check out his episodes as well. And thank you, Courtney, once again for being here. And at the very, very top of the list, thank you for listening to Strike a Spark podcast. And we're going to leave you on this note. As Dave Chappelle once said, the moment that you give up and the moment that you don't step back out on that stage is the moment that you can never call yourself a professional. Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming to Strike a Spark podcast. We hope we struck the spark in you, and I want you to come back again. We all do, so we can strike that spark because we're your fire starters. And that's a wrap.
Hey.
Yay! Rap.